Hello, sports fans, and welcome to this special playoff edition of Enter the Sports Zone. Happy New Year! It's hard to believe that the NFL season is already in the books. We are lucky and grateful to have completed a full season of football, and Wild Card Weekend is now upon us. I love this time of year, and I will now turn it over to my colleague and good friend, the greatest of all time, Mike.
Joe, again with those kind words. Remember, you're not getting paid for any of this, but thank you.
That's all right. Well deserved, Mike. Well deserved.
Well, sports fans, as my good friend Joe said, it's NFL Playoff Edition. For the first time in NFL history, we have 6 wild card games. We have 3 on Saturday and 3 on Sunday. Saturday's schedule starts off between the 7th-seeded Colts at the 2nd-seeded Buffalo Bills at 1:05 p.m. That's a battle of Jonathan Taylor, the great running back from the Colts, against Josh Allen, the MVP candidate quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. In the second game at 4:40 p.m., we have the NFC matchup, the 6th-seeded Rams at the number 3 Seahawks. They're both in the same division. They played twice already. Both teams have good defensive players, led by the Rams defensive tackle Aaron Donald and the Seahawks safety Jamal Adams. In the final game at 8:15 p.m., we have another NFC matchup between the 5th seed Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the 4th seed the Washington team. It's a battle of veteran quarterbacks, Tom Brady for the Buccaneers and a injured and hobbled Alex Smith of the Washington team. In Sunday's matchup, 1:05 p.m. game, we have 2 outstanding AFC teams, the 5th seed Baltimore Ravens at the Tennessee Titans, the 4th seed. That's the matchup between quarterback Lamar Jackson of the Ravens and the 2,000-yard running back Derrick Henry of the Titans. In the 4:40 p.m. matchup, we have an NFC battle between the 7th-seeded Chicago Bears at the 2nd seed New Orleans Saints. This is a battle of a good defense in the Chicago Bears against the veteran quarterback Drew Brees and running back Alvin Kamara. In the final game, Sunday night, 8:15 p.m., we have an AFC matchup between the 6th seed Cleveland Browns against the 3rd seed Pittsburgh Steelers. This is another matchup between 2 teams in the same division. All these games, Joe, I can't wait for NFL playoff football. I also got more exciting news, Joe. For the first time in Enter the Sports Zone podcast history, we have a guest on tonight's show.
Yes.
He's an expert in sports betting and picking winners. I've been profitable thanks to his advice. We're going to introduce this segment as Pat's Picks.
Mike, I'm amped up and excited to welcome our first guest. Welcome to the show, Pat. Mike, this reminds me of Night at the Roxbury. Steve and Doug Butabi when they get their first number.
Excellent movie. Excellent movie.
Here's a clip.
Got a number! We got a number! Whoa! Whoa!
Mike, we got
a guest! Yeah!
Woohoo!
Well, sports fans, now it's that time. We're going to introduce our segment for the NFL Playoff Edition, Pat Picks. And I'm proud to introduce Pat.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here. It's a football fan's dream. 6 playoff games in 1 weekend. I'm going to put a Do Not Disturb sign in my man cave starting Saturday at 1 and come and get me at 11:30 Sunday night. Game number 1, Indianapolis Colts at the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are currently favored by 6.5. Now, normally, you worry about any team going to play on the road in Buffalo in the playoffs in January. But weather in this game is not going to be a factor. It's supposed to be sunny, no wind, and temperatures in the 30s. So the Colts luck out with the weather. But I still do like the Bills in this game. But I worry about one thing with the Colts. It's Jonathan Taylor. Other than Derrick Henry, he's been one of the best running backs in the league over the past 5 weeks. On the season, he's rushed for over 1,100 yards and that's rushing for 5 yards a carry. And for the first 5 games of the season, they weren't even using him as the bell cow. Nyheim Hines was getting a lot of the carries in those games. He was getting about 8 to 12 carries. So they are really leaning on Jonathan Taylor lately, and I think they're going to have to be leaning on him this game in order to stay close. As for the Bills, they are playing like one of the best teams in the NFL the last 10 games. If it wasn't for the Hail Murray versus Arizona, they'd be on a 10-game winning streak to end the season. Josh Allen to Stephon Diggs is an unstoppable combination. My gut tells me the Bills have a 7-point lead in the last 2 minutes of the game, and Phillip Rivers will have to drive down the field to tie the game, but he throws an interception. I don't know, to me Rivers looks like he has a wet noodle for an arm these days, but I do like Jonathan Taylor to keep this game close. But in the end, the Bills win by 7, 27-20. Game number 2, Seahawks and the Rams. Currently, Seahawks favorite by 3.5. It's still unknown whether Goff is going to be starting in this game because he had thumb surgery about a week and a half ago and still recovering. So if it's Wolford who starts in his place this week, you have 2 totally different quarterbacks for Seattle to defend and prepare for. You'll have a dual-threat quarterback in Wolford who ran for 56 yards in his first ever start and threw for 231. And then you have Goff, who is the better thrower and obviously more experienced, but won't run at all. I like Seattle in this game either way, and I would actually prefer if Goff was playing, just because him having the thumb issue and not being 100%. And if you're Seattle, you don't have to worry about a guy in Wolford that you never really prepared for running all over the place and making play with his legs. I like the way Seattle's been playing lately. Early in the season, Coach Carroll was letting Russell Wilson throw the ball all over the place, but that was really hurting his defense also. They were one of the worst defenses in the league in the first half of the season, but recently they've gone back to running the ball. I like the fact that Russell Wilson is mobile and he'll be able to get away from the pass rush from Aaron Donald. And although the Rams have one of the best cornerbacks in the league in Jalen Ramsey, whether he matches up against Metcalf or Lockett, he's only going to be able to cover one at a time. So I think Seattle is going to be able to move the ball on the Rams. Seattle ended the season winning 4 games in a row, and I like them to cover here. We'll call it 27-23 Seattle. And you guys just know, being a Jet fan, that Jamal Adams in this game is going to make some big play, an interception, a pick six, or whatever it may be. In playing in his first playoff game, it's just going to make us Jet fans feel worse. So we're going to move on to game number 3 on Saturday, 8:15, Buccaneers versus the Washington Redskins. The Bucs are currently 8-point favorites in this game. And I got an interesting stat for you about teams that finish the season either 500 or below 500 and make the playoffs. Since 2002, there have been 7 teams that have either made the playoffs at 500 or below 500. And those teams on Wild Card Weekend, playing in that first weekend, have an astonishing 7-0 against the spread. And even more amazing, they have gone 6-1 straight up and they have knocked off the favorites 6 out of the 7 of those games. That's unbelievable. And I feel the trend is going to continue here. But I don't see the Redskins winning the game, but I see them covering the 8 points. I actually like the matchup for the Redskins here. The Redskins have a really good defense and a great defensive front, and we all know Tom Brady doesn't like to move around in the pocket and feel uncomfortable. I feel the Redskins will pressure Tom Brady enough to keep him in this game. I know the Redskins don't have a great offense, but to cover this, I think all Washington has to do is get to 17 points in this game, and I think they can. And I also don't think they're going to give up more than 24. So that's why I'm going to call this game 24-17. Tampa's going to get the win, but the Redskins will cover this one. Moving along to my game of the week, the game I'm most looking forward to. Sunday at 1, Ravens at Titans. The Ravens are favored by 3.5. Now normally I would look at this game and say the Titans are in a great situation with the running back, in the best running back in the league, who's run for over 2,000 yards with Derrick Henry. Usually this time of year, in January, late January, in the playoffs, you need a great running back and a good defense because of the possibility of bad weather, which will give you a big advantage. But this week, the weather in Tennessee isn't going to be that bad at all. It's going to be in the 30s, partly sunny, no wind, so weather isn't going to be a factor. Now, although Henry is going to be able to run and should get close to 100 yards, or over 100 yards, I think the Ravens can do just enough to slow him down, where Henry won't carry the Titans to a win. In fact, I think the Ravens will get out to a lead against the suspect Titans defense, and it will be the Titans that'll have to pass a little more trailing in this game, so they won't be able to lean on Henry late in the game. After a good start to the season, the Ravens lost 4 of 5 from weeks 8 to 12, but since then they have reeled off 5 consecutive wins to finish 11-5. With the emergence of rookie running back J.K. Dobbins, who started out the season slow, and Staten Island native Gus Edwards, not to mention the team leader in rushing yards Lamar Jackson, I think the Ravens are going to put up 31 points in this game and win this game 31-27. The middle game on Sunday at 4:40, you have the wild card Bears going up against the New Orleans Saints. The Saints caught a nice break in this one due to scheduling. If this game landed on Saturday, the Saints would have been without Alvin Kamara because of COVID protocols. But since this game is being played Sunday, Kamara should be back, and also the Saints should be getting Michael Thomas back from an ankle injury. But it's not definitive yet whether Thomas is going to be in the game. But supposedly the rumor is he's going to be back. I think this is the game of the weekend that is actually going to be a blowout. The Saints are favored by 10, and I think they win this game by 17, 34-17. Although the Bears have a pretty good defense and a nice running back in David Montgomery who rushed for over 1,000 yards, the Bears went 3-7 in the final 10 games, and at one point lost 6 before winning 3 games in a row in weeks 14, 15, and 16. But they were against Houston, Minnesota, and Jacksonville. And then last week, they backed into the playoffs, losing to Green Bay, and finished 8-8. Although I think Khalil Mack will get into the backfield, I think that will be offset by a couple of big screen plays by Drew Brees to Alvin Kamara. When you think of the Saints, you automatically think of offense, but it has been the defense that pretty much carried them through the middle of the season. When Brees went down, they had Taysom Hill under center. I can see the Saints holding Montgomery under 80 yards in this game and putting enough pressure on Mitchell Trubisky, causing a couple of turnovers. Once again, Saints 34, Bears 17. And for the final game of the slate, Sunday night, 8:15, Browns at the Steelers. Last week, the Steelers didn't start Ben Roethlisberger. They benched a lot of their starters, and they didn't show any of their playbook. But on the other side, the Browns had everyone playing and needed the game desperately to get into the playoffs, and they did show a lot of their playbook. And the Browns were only able to squeak out a 24-22 win. Now the Steelers are favored by 6 points in this game. I like to see the Steelers going back to do what they do in the past and run a little more. It seems like they pass the ball 80% of the time now. And as much as they pass, Big Ben doesn't really put up huge numbers passing. On the other side, you have the Browns with a great running game in Chubb and Hunt. After starting 11-0, the Steelers finished the season losing 4 of the last 5. And I'm going to go with the upset special in the end and pick the Browns to win this game outright, 24-20. So that's the picks for this week. Enjoy the games.
Well, sports fans, I want to thank Pat for his segment on Pat's Picks. His expert analysis is right on point, and I hope it's profitable for anyone out there that tunes into this podcast and listens to his analysis.
Pat, thank you very much for being our very first guest on our show. Thank you for your expert analysis. I'm on my way to Vegas with your picks. I'm looking forward to the games. Enjoy the games. And once again, thank you for being here.
Guys. Thanks for having me. And we'll see if they're expert or not next week, all right? Because let's get through the games first. And obviously, if I go 6-0, then I'm an expert, right?
Pat,
if I go 1-6,
Pat,
you are an expert.
I'm looking to win some money, so I'm going to take up on your advice. Thank you again.
Pat, I already placed the bets.
Okay.
And I hope you come back for future segments.
Oh, definitely, guys. Take care, guys.
Yes.
You got it, Pat. Well, to recap Pat's picks, Saturday he has the Bills -6.5, Seahawks -3.5, the Washington team +8, Ravens -3, the Saints -10, and the Browns +6. Joe, by listening to Pat's picks, I feel like making my own picks and making a little bet with you. What do you think about that?
Let's go for it.
All right. So I'll make my picks first. Does that sound good?
Yes, sounds great. Let's
All
go.
right. For this weekend's playoff games, We're just going to pick the winning team, right? What do you think? Just the winning team sounds good to you?
Sounds good. Winning team. Are we putting anything on the line?
I say let's make it a bet. Let's make the picks, and then we'll say what the bet will be. All right?
All right. Perfect.
All right. So for Saturday's games, I like the Bills, the Seahawks, and the Buccaneers. In Sunday's matchup, I like the Ravens, the Saints, and the Steelers.
Am I going into my picks?
I say, yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay. Well, Mike, now, sports fans, we did not discuss this earlier. This is candid, real talk. Mike, I will say this. I'll go over my picks. I have the Bills. I also have the Seahawks. I also have the Bucks, Ravens, Saints, and Steelers. We're identical, 6 for 6.
How are we going to determine who wins the bet?
Oh, wow. Well, we could go for a Super Bowl winner.
Okay, I like that.
I will say, folks, we just learned this is why we're doing a sports talk show together, because we think alike. And this just proves it. What are the odds? 6 for 6.
Sports fans, I had no idea what his picks were. That's crazy.
I also we did not discuss this prior. We made our picks separately. Wow. Yeah. So Super Bowl winner, we can go. We can determine it there, or do a whole bracket. And
Well, how about this? We'll pick AFC representative of the Super Bowl, NFC representative of the Super Bowl, and then the Super Bowl winner, and that will break the tie.
okay, sounds good.
You go first for the AFC.
Okay, AFC. My AFC representative, because I'm in a New York state of mind, is the Buffalo Bills. I love Josh Allen. The Bills are scorching hot. Josh Allen's been a joy to watch. He had an incredible season, throwing 37 TD passes and for over 4,500 yards. Go Bills, bring that Lombardi trophy back to New York. Concrete jungle where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do. Now you're in New York. That will lead me into my NFC representative. I'm going with the New Orleans Saints, Drew Brees. High-octane offense, Drew Brees, and possibly his final season as a quarterback. I say Bills versus Saints.
Joe, I was about to say, I like the way you made those picks with the little singing talent that you have. Great job. I love it. I'm going to have to go against you, Joe.
Okay.
Finally, something different.
All right.
Well, sports fans, for my AFC representative for the Super Bowl, I'm going to just say these 3 words. Twice is nice. What I mean by that, last year's Super Bowl representative from the AFC and eventual Super Bowl champion was your Pat Mahomes Kansas City Chiefs. I say twice as nice, and I believe that the Kansas City Chiefs will go back to the Super Bowl to represent the AFC. I also have a different team for the NFC. It's not the New Orleans Saints. It's not even the favorite and number 1 seed Green Bay Packers. No, sports fans. I am going on the Tampa train with Tom Brady and your Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Wow.
Why do you say, sports fans? Because Tom Brady is the most prolific quarterback Super Bowl winner in NFL history. And I say history repeats itself. That's right, sports fans. I'm going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So my Super Bowl representatives are the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I believe that the Kansas City Chiefs will repeat as Super Bowl champs for the 2nd year in a row.
All right, excellent picks there, Mike. Hard to argue with the Chiefs. I could see them repeating, could certainly see that happening. And Tom Brady, I definitely a fan of his. He's found the fountain of youth, throwing 40 TD passes with a brand new team this year. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or should I call them the Tampa Bay football team, as they play the Washington football team this week. I'm a Tom Brady fan. I'm rooting for him. I don't know if they're going to get past the Saints, who, if they end up playing them in the playoffs, who crushed them during the season.
Oh, I do like your analysis. Again, I'm just going with history. I'm going with the current history of Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs, and I'm going with the overall history of success of Tom Brady and his new team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Excellent picks. That'll be a great Super Bowl, Mike. I'd love to see Tom Brady back in it. I would definitely be rooting for him, but I would have to agree with you on the matchup. I think the Kansas City Chiefs would be too much for them to overcome.
Now we just got one more thing to finalize, the actual bet. So,
Okay, before we get into that, I just want to make it clear.
Okay.
I mentioned my representatives. I am certainly going with the Bills over the Saints in that matchup, in case I didn't get to that before. My two representatives are the Buffalo Bills and the New Orleans Saints, with the Buffalo Bills, the hottest team in football, scorching hot, getting the W and bringing that Lombardi Trophy back to New York.
Okay, you got the Bills. I got the Chiefs as the Super Bowl champions.
Both AFC, okay.
Now, how are we gonna decide the bet? What are we gonna do? What do I have to do if I lose the bet, Joe?
Okay, you're going to have to walk over the Brooklyn Bridge in a Speedo.
Are we talking 2021 Speedo or 1980 Speedo?
Your pick.
I think we have to go old school and go 1980 Speedo.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know how confident you are in your picks, but should we tone it down a little bit? You want me to? Because then, if you agree to that, I can only imagine what you're going to ask me to do. So I'm fine with toning that down.
Yeah, I think you should tone it down a little bit.
Okay. Go ahead. You go first.
All right. So if I win the bet, recently for a New Year's resolution, I walked 10 miles, and my goal was to do it under 4 hours. I ended up walking 10 miles in 4 hours, 6 minutes, and 10 seconds. So if I win the bet, you're going to have to walk those same 10 miles and beat my time of 4 hours, 6 minutes, and 10 seconds.
Okay. It's a deal. You got it. I'll agree to that. And I know how much you like olives, Mike. You'll have to eat. No, I'm not going to say a whole jar. I don't want you getting sick or anything, but I'll put down a plate of olives, and you'll have to eat them on the show, on a live cast.
Wow, Joe, you're really going to a sensitive spot. I would rather eat my own.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
All right, sportsmen, I won't say it, but that's how much I hate olives. The bet is on. Agreed.
Okay. It's a deal. Now, what happens if neither of those teams... well, whoever's the closest. If one of us has one representative out of the two, yeah, we'll just do it that way. I think.
Yeah, if one of our teams makes it to the Super Bowl and the other person gets none, then that person wins the bet. So if you get the Bills, and I was the only one that made it, and I got none, you win. Vice versa with me. Say the Buccaneers made it, and no other teams that we picked got in, and then I win.
Makes sense. Deal.
All right. Well, sports fans, this wraps up another episode of Enter the Sports Zone with Mike and Joe. Again, I want to thank Pat for Pat's picks. Hopefully, we'll have more segments with Pat's picks. I want to thank my co-host Joe for being the best co-host that I ever had. He is also the GOAT. He's the man that does all the editing. Love his ideas, and I'm looking forward to more podcasts. Enter the Sports Zone with Mike and Joe.
Thanks, Mike. It's been a pleasure, been a blast. I appreciate you saying that I'm the best co-host you've ever had. I did realize as you were saying that I might be the only co-host you've ever had. but
Well, no one else needs to know that right now.
then we'll edit that out. Okay.
All right. Until next time, sports fans.
Thanks, fans. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the episode, please like and subscribe. Enjoy the playoffs. Happy New Year once again. Have a great evening.
Take care, everyone.
The 25 breaks a couple of tackles. And look at him go! And look at him go! He's good!